Kia ora.
Hello and welcome to the NZ Ahead podcast. I'm Liz, and today I have got, and I know I say this every week, but every week I just seem to have an even more exciting guest. I've got a guest for you called Ali. Ali is a member of our private NZ Ahead community, and 7 months ago she moved to New Zealand. She's living on the North Island in Cambridge as a GP. So you're going to love Ali because not only is she a GP, and we talk about the difference between a GP and a physician from the US, but her husband is also a GP too. So they both moved over with their 4 children from the US to come and live in New Zealand and practice as GPs right here. And her story is fantastic. We don't just learn about what it's like to be a doctor in New Zealand or a GP. We also learn the differences between the USA and just how New Zealand do things and what's been such a shock to her, the great things about the healthcare system in New Zealand, the not so great things about it that are a little bit frustrating. It's just really value-packed show. You're going to absolutely love it. So like I said, Ali is part of our private NZ Ahead community group. If you haven't heard about that, it is the best community in the world, bar none. It is a Slack group filled with people who are doing exactly the same as you want to do, which is move to New Zealand. Some of them have been there for a long time and they've already made that move and they're paying back all the information that they've received now they're here in New Zealand. Oh, it's just wonderful. It's a fantastic group. It really is. It's filled with immigration advisors. We've got people who ship your pets. We've got money transfer people, private healthcare people. We've got lots of professionals in there, but most importantly, we've got people like you. We've got real people who are willing to open up and share what they've learned along the way as they've made the move to New Zealand. And it's just so lovely. Me and Brian are obviously in the group, and it's so fantastic to see daily posts about people who have met up here in New Zealand, become friends through the community. It's fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. So if you want to know more about that community that Ali is in and me and Brian host, then you can go and get our free 5-day video guide, which is 5 days of videos, short videos about some aspect of life in New Zealand. They're absolutely brilliant. I am a bit biased because I made them. But yep, you can get those. And on day 5, we will give you information about how you can become a member of the amazing, bestest group in the whole world if you are moving to New Zealand. So to get those free videos, go to www.nzahead.com/free. Get the videos, go to day 5, and on day 5 you'll find out more about this fabulous community that will help and support you in your brilliant, adventurous move to New Zealand. Okay, enough from me. Let's sit back and enjoy this fantastic chat with Ali.
Kia ora.
Welcome to the NZ Ahead podcast. Everything you need to know about moving to and living in New Zealand.
There's a whole world here.
So nice to be with you again.
We call it Aotearoa around here, bro.
You'll be right.
We are your hosts, Liz and Brian.
Amazing New Zealand in the southern seas.
See, that's where I belong. That's home.
Ali, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Where are you coming from? Whereabouts in New Zealand are you recording this show from?
Yeah, we're about 20 minutes from Hamilton. We're pretty much, smack right in the middle. It's a great jumping ground. We can really go 2 hours in every direction, and there's something amazing.
Right. So before we jump in and find out, you've been in New Zealand for 7 months. Tell me about where you came from in the US and what job you and your husband, and just tell me a bit about your family. I know you've got kids. Just fill me in on who you are,
Yes.
where you came from in the US.
Yeah, sure. So I am from Idaho, the Northwest, kind of right at the edge of the mountains. My husband was from Montana, right next door. And we both trained as family physicians in the US. We actually met in residency. I was a year ahead of him. I was his boss the first day. So we met there. We were married shortly after residency, and we have 4 kids. So we're both family physicians. we were living in Idaho, practicing there. I actually did obstetrics as well. So I was delivering babies.
Right.
I did a lot of pediatrics. I did rotation here in New Zealand during my residency training
Right.
back in 2012, maybe 11, a long time ago, up in the far north in Kaitaia, and absolutely loved it, fell in love, and knew, if there was any chance at all to get back someday, we wanted to take it. And the opportunity came and we said, hey, this is our chance. Let's do it. So we brought our 4 kids over last December.
That is fantastic. So you're both you're family clinicians back in the US. What does it mean when you're a family clinician? What does that mean? You only deal with families, or?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because back in the US, we don't prefer the term GP because a GP is any doctor who just did 1 year of residency and internship. And then you can kind of say, yeah, I'm a GP. You can kind of hang a shingle and do a practice. But we went to residency for family medicine and had to do a number of things to be board certified.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we in the States always prefer the term, family medicine physician or family physician. So yeah, it has taken some getting used to going back to being called GPs.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. We take care of patients from birth to death, from, like in my case, I delivered babies all the way. I had some patient families who I would see 4 generations would deliver the baby, take care of their parents, and the grandparents.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a really special job.
I just want to say to you before we jump into this interview, thank you for everything that you do and for the skills that you have brought to New Zealand. I want to just say that right off the start to you and your husband. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are so welcome. It's truly it's an honor. It's one of those jobs that there are hard days, but when you take a look back, you just feel like you're going to see your friends every day. It's really neat.
Mm-hmm. So how old are your kids?
I have a 10-year-old boy, an 8-year-old girl, a 6-year-old girl, and a 2.5-year-old boy.
Oh, I've got so much respect for you. I really have. I just think it was so hard with 2 kids. So 4 children, and you're both working full time as doctors, as physicians.
Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. So you said that this wasn't your first time in New Zealand. Did you say you did your residency in New Zealand? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I just did 1 kind of rotation.
Right.
So our second year of training, there's kind of a free month. You get to choose what you want to do. And I was actually an anthropology major for my undergrad and did some field work in Namibia and Africa and spent 6 months in India at a leprosy hospital. So I've just always been drawn. And that was one reason I actually chose medicine, because it was a skill I could take with me and do anywhere in the world. So yeah, my first thought was, I need to go overseas. I need to see how medicine is somewhere else. And I think it was a friend actually who said, I did some time in New Zealand, helped me get set up with a contact. So yeah, I was only here about 5 weeks, but it was, enough to sway me to want to come back.
To make you fall in love. What's an anthropologist? Yes. What does that mean?
So I was a sociocultural anthropology major. You can do the physical side of anthropology as well, which is kind of more, artifacts and heirlooms and, the digs at sites trying to find things. Sociocultural, we really studied people and their behaviors and their stories and kind of why people do what they do and how different cultures are set up all over the world, and why in some cultures, females are dominant, other culture males are dominant, how that plays out. So just really hearing people's stories. And I loved science as well. So really medicine was kind of the perfect blend, and especially family medicine, because so much of what I do is hearing people's stories and understanding who they are and where they came from. And that's such a huge part of their health.
Yes.
And also a huge part of me helping them find healing and wellness is kind of understanding those stories. So yeah, it ended up being a good blend of my training.
Yes. And you went to India to a leprosy hospital. Oh, Ali.
Yes.
Wow.
We
I can't
lived at the hospital.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I need to talk to you so much. I need to just hear all your stories. I didn't know this about you. I really,
Yes.
and do you know what? I just love what you just said about how building a picture of seeing how other people, how cultures work and seeing how stories unfold gives you such an insight into how to be with people as a doctor, as a GP.
Right.
Yeah, I love that because it is a skill. You have to sit there every day and watch people come in and sit in front of you and unfold their story, and you have to see past their ailments and see what's going on. I would imagine, don't you? Like what's going on deeper there? And is that
it's really interesting because you learn kind of quickly. Hopefully, you learn that not everyone wants to hear from you in the same way.
Yeah.
You know, some patients really like me to be very blunt and forthright and say, this is exactly what I want you to do. And other patients, you know, just want me to present options and kind of guide them and step with them, you know, along their choices. So yeah, having that kind of understanding and the skill to be able to meet patients where they are and figure out how they can best be served by you is, it's can be tricky. It can be tricky, but
I bet it can.
It's important.
Yeah. So you've got a life in Idaho. The 4 of you, the 6 of you, your family of 6 are over there. You're practicing medicine. Why New Zealand? Why did you think I'm going to leave the States and I'm going to come to New Zealand and we're going to be doctors over here?
Such a good question. I think maybe you've made reference to this too. Some people are just kind of born with an adventurous spirit, an adventurous heart. And it just, you can't really deny that inside of you to want to see what else is out there. Other people are born, you know, wanting to put their roots down. My husband's a little bit more like that. I had to kind of coax him a bit to say, no, let's go try something new. But yeah, there were lots of reasons. There were lots of things I was really frustrated by with the medical system in the United States. There were lots of reasons I loved New Zealand. And a lot of it is I know Slackers have talked about this. It's almost just hard to put into words, just the intangible things that are different here. Of course, it's a beautiful place, but you know, the United States has many beautiful places too. So it's more than that. It's just kind of a cultural attitude and mindset and the way things are done. And yeah, that was just also intriguing to me and something I really wanted to see and explore. And also let my kids try something new and get them out of their comfort zone and have them exposed to new experiences. Yeah, it was really important to me too. So yeah, we're actually filling in for another GP couple who are traveling the world this year.
Right.
So that was kind of our door in. So we knew it was a door that was only going to be open for this experience. So that kind of helped us take the leap.
Right. So are you just here for a year or are you here indefinitely?
We came over with the mindset that we really wanted to at least commit to 2 years. So we kind of told everyone back home, like, this, if we're home after a year, something didn't go right, we're going to try to stay for 2. Yeah, the couple we're filling in for gets home in January, and then we're in their house. Actually, we're renting their house and driving their cars and using all their stuff. So at the end of the year, yeah, we'll have to come up with another plan. But yeah, we're 100% planning to stay another year and maybe beyond. Yeah, we have no idea yet.
Do you know, I love your spirit. I love your attitude. I absolutely love it. It's just oozing out the computer at me. I know that people listening to this and watching this are going to feel it too. So I love that whole idea of let's just go for an adventure. You know, that's what life is about. Let's take our kids. Let's do this. Let's do that. I just absolutely love that. So you've come over to New Zealand, and what we wanted to talk about was the differences between the healthcare system in New Zealand and the US, and also you practicing medicine over here in New Zealand. Can I just ask, when you were in the US, and I'm sorry if I sound really ignorant and I don't know about this, but healthcare in the US, is it all paid for? Is it any of it free, or is it all paid for?
That's a really good question. For the most part,
you are here because you love New Zealand, just like me and Brian. And me and Brian made it our reality of moving over here. We arrived in New Zealand in 2009 with 2 small children, and I tell you what, hardly any information to our name. We came over here with no resources, no contacts, we knew nothing. One night while we were sitting around the fire when we got to New Zealand, we said, wouldn't it be great if we made something for other people in the same situation as us that gave them everything they needed to know about moving to New Zealand? And that's just what we did. We started a community of people, of like-minded adventurers from all over the world who are making their dream of moving to New Zealand a reality. This community is made up of 400 beautiful souls, each one bringing their own story, their own needs, their own information to our community. And I just love it. I tell you, it's just the best community in the whole wide world. If you would like to be part of that community or get to know more about it, then you can take our free 5-day video guide that we offer. This is a video guide that Brian and I created, showing you some aspect of life in New Zealand every single day. There is nothing like this on the internet. You won't find it anywhere else. It's brilliant and it's unique and it's free. So sign up to those 5-day video guides, and on day 5, I'll give you more information about how you can join our beautiful New Zealand community. Sign up now by going to www.nzahead.com/free. That's www.nzahead.com/free. Get to day 5, see all about our community, and I hope to see you on the other side. Okay, let's get back to the show.
That's a really good question. For the most part, you pay for everything yourself, usually through your insurance company. There are programs. So there's a program called Medicaid that each state runs their own kind of Medicaid program. And usually to qualify for Medicaid, you have to have a very low income. But if you do have Medicaid, most things are paid for 100%. Right. So there is a very small portion of the population that has that. Of course, if you're 65 or older, you have Medicare, and Medicare pays for many things, not all things. There are still co-pays and things like that. And then everyone in between. The interesting thing about the US system is there's hundreds of different insurance plans, and each patient is on a different insurance plan. And it's really a contract between that person and their insurance company, what is covered and what's not. So as a doctor, we actually have no idea what that insurance covers. And patients often don't realize that and will be sometimes upset because their insurance didn't cover X, Y, or Z, or, well, why did you prescribe that medicine? My insurance doesn't cover it. There's no way for us to keep up with that. Right. So I really have no idea when I'm ordering a test or prescribing a medicine if your insurance company will cover it, and if they do, how much they'll cover. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, because you'd have to take that into consideration as well, and just like you say, just put it to one side, because if you were worrying about that, that's another thing to have to think about as well, isn't it? Like, oh gosh, should I prescribe this, or are they going to pay for it? So
yes,
yeah, thank you for answering that question, because I just didn't know. And I always used to think, well, what if you didn't have any money? What if you didn't have any money? But like you've just answered that, so low income people are entitled to, like you say, free medical care in the US.
Yes, and it's very low. So there's a huge gap of people, kind of the working poor, who make very little money, but unfortunately it's enough that they don't qualify for Medicaid. But there's no way they can afford insurance premiums, which are often, $1,000 to $2,000 a month, just for your insurance. Yeah. And then you still have to hit an out-of-pocket deductible, which is the deductibles are getting higher and higher, but oftentimes, $5,000 a year. And then they're probably only going to pay 80% on top of that.
I don't know how people do it. I honestly don't know how you do it. It's just, yeah.
It is wild. Yeah. It's a lot of people, unfortunately, have a lot of financial problems because of healthcare, which is really sad.
Yeah, it is. It is really sad.
Yeah.
So you come to New Zealand and you take over this couple's life.
Yeah. Yes. Stepped into their shoes, literally. She left her closet of shoes and clothes.
Oh, fantastic. And so you just take over their role in the clinic. Is it, and so describe it to me. What is it, like a local doctor's surgery that you and your husband are working at? And just describe where you're working now and what that looks like.
Yeah, it's one of I think there's three there's 3, kind of GP clinics in Cambridge. So it's one of the GP clinics. I actually do more of the walk-in, like the urgent care type. So when I show up to work, I have no idea who's coming my way and how busy it will be. My husband does the more traditional. He has a panel that he sees, patients on their regularly scheduled visits. We have quite a few providers at the clinic. It's a lot different in how it's set up. Should I talk about that?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, there's, I would say the day-to-day clinic life is probably the most different. So I'll just kind of paint a picture. So back in Idaho, we have an office. There's like a central pod. I sit right next to my nurse. Each doctor has a nurse that works with them. She was my best friend. I worked with her, every day for 8+ years. She probably knows more about my life than most people, but she was kind of my right-hand man. And she would actually I had 3 exam rooms that I would work out of. She would room my patients. She would do their vitals. She would update their medication list. She would add new allergies and then update their pharmacy even and start typing in the history. So when I walked in the door, we could jump straight into what can I help you with? Hear your story. So it was very efficient. And then since I had 3 rooms, I always had the next patient ready and waiting when I was finished with the first. So yeah, here we actually just have 1 room and it serves as our office as well as our exam room. And we do have nurses who work at the clinic, but they don't really help an individual doctor. They're kind of doing their own clinics or triaging or on the phones. So I room my own patients. So go grab them from the waiting room. I do all the vitals and then have to update the chart so that we only have 15-minute visits. That does cut into time.
Yeah.
So sometimes depending on how things are going, sometimes mobility issues, it can take a long time to get from the waiting room to the room itself. Doing vitals can take a long time. So that is one thing that's a little bit tricky here is even our 15-minute visits, which are already quite short, are cut down even more because we don't have that help. And then, it gets a bit lonely. You're just in your room all day by yourself. I mean, of course, you're with your patients, but I do kind of miss that camaraderie, of being with my nurse. And actually my partner and his nurse were right next to us too. So it was a little more collegial. So I've had to make a conscious effort to kind of walk around the clinic and poke my head in and say hi to other people there.
Yeah. So why are you and your husband are in the same building, I take it?
Yeah, we're neighbors.
Yeah. Are you ever tempted to just go in and go, oh, it's a bit quiet, isn't it? What? I'm shattered.
All the time.
What should we have for our tea?
All the time. Knock on the wall to him. No, it's really nice to have him there over lunch or if there's ever downtime. There's not very much downtime, just to poke my head in, even just to kind of bounce things off each other and, learning the system. It's been nice to have someone there to talk things through with.
Is this the first time he's been to New Zealand?
Yes, he had never been. He totally trusted me.
Yeah. Okay. And I know you've been here 7 months now. So 7 months is enough time for you to really start to feel like you're getting to know the place. How does he like it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost to 8. I think next week will be 8.
Oh, 8.
No, it's so great. We love Cambridge. It's such a beautiful community. It's so safe. Everything is in such short distance. Almost no traffic. The kids have absolutely loved the schools. They've taken to it. They're all trying new sports, field hockey and rugby. No, it's been great.
That's fantastic. So he's happy that you took your word for it then and came over.
Yes, I think like anyone, you go through days and maybe even weeks of missing home and missing things about home, but those are momentary. And, at the end of the day, we always come back to, yeah, we're so glad we did this.
Yes. Yeah. And like we just said at the beginning of the show as well, it's an adventure. I think if you can take it out of that mindset, and I know this is hard to do, but if you can take away that this is forever sort of feeling, and I know it's a massive cost and it's a massive move and it's a massive wrench, but even if you just trick your mind and say, I can always go home, it's just an adventure. I've found that helped me. And it looks like that's your attitude too, is like, well, this is just another adventure, we'll see how it goes. And
yeah. And in the grand scheme of things, even if you did just stay a year, that's such a short amount of time.
Yes. Yeah.
You may as well. You may as well try something new for a year.
Exactly. And I always fast forward in my mind to when I'm older and I'm like 85, hopefully. And I'm sitting there and thinking, oh, guess what I did when I was younger? I went to New Zealand and, I did this and I did that and went to India and went to, all these things. I think what a lovely way to be able to tell stories like that. But anyway, back to you. So the 15 minutes, I've always wondered about this. Why do you only get 15 minutes?
Yes, and my UK colleagues will probably laugh because from what I hear, they only get 10 minutes.
Yep.
I can't fathom. I cannot fathom. So that's a huge change. In the States, we had control over our templates. So depending on the type of provider you were, you could kind of choose how long you wanted your appointments to be. But for the most part, 15 minutes for the urgent appointments, but otherwise we had 30 minutes. And if someone was elderly or had a lot of issues, we would have 45 minutes with the patient to sit down and kind of go through everything. So yeah, that's been probably, if I had to say like one shift that's been the most difficult, it's only having 15 minutes. But yeah, this is why there's a sign up in our exam rooms that say, your visit with your GP is a limited resource. And when you think of it that way, we're so in need of doctors here. And, we have so many people that need care. What we're able to offer is 15 minutes in order to be able to give some degree of care to, the most amount of people. So yeah, it's taken kind of a shift in our thinking as, medical providers to say, yeah, maybe I didn't get through everything. Maybe I could have been more thorough and, addressed more problems. But my role here is to provide some care, good care to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And that's how the system works here. And yeah, we're happy to do that.
And I know we were talking earlier about your husband. Just talk to me about your husband, because it made me smile because it just made me think of Brian, but you were saying he's so thorough and so, like he wants it to be completely and utterly right and thorough. But just talk to me about that, because
that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that was, every clinician kind of has their own style, and just naturally some are more efficient. Some are take longer, some are chattier. And yeah, my husband's style, he is such a thorough, careful, thoughtful provider, which is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, he has a really hard time not making sure he hasn't missed everything and making sure he hasn't asked about every possible contributing thing. And he really, values education. So for him to shift to 15 minutes and feel like he was having to miss out on the care he wanted to provide, was a little bit of a tricky transition for him.
Yeah.
And there were definitely weeks where he said, like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know if I can do this. So like I said, it's just been learning a whole new skill set to say, this is the time we have. What can we make happen? And the other thing, I've actually seen a few articles floating around about how the patient can make their visit more efficient with their GP, knowing that you only have 15 minutes, how best to go into that visit to be prepared. And the other thing to know is you can do a double visit. So as a patient, if you have something really complex, or if you feel like you were too rushed in what you had for 15 minutes, you can book a double consult, even here.
Right.
So we do have that option for, complex patients or patients with a lot of mental health issues who you have to talk through a lot of different things. You do have to pay, the extra consult fee, but in my opinion, so worth it to feel like you had everything heard that you wanted to say and everything addressed.
Yeah.
And really that extra consult fee still doesn't reach how much we're paying for one visit in the States.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's what I always think. That's exactly what I always think. I mean, it's different for me because I came from the UK and it was free, NHS. But even now, because I was going to say to you, at the doctors, in my local doctors, you can book a double appointment. They say, do you want a 15-minute or a 30-minute? And I think a 15-minute one is about $80 or something like that. I'm guessing around about 80. And yeah, a double one is like 150. Is that about the same price as you've got up there?
That's a little more than we have. I think ours is more around 60-ish. 60,
Right.
maybe 65. Yeah. And the double, yeah, well, I think would be twice that. But yeah, sometimes let me put it this way. If you kind of come in with a long list and you're expecting the doctor to get through it in the 8 minutes you have after everything else is done, I'm telling you from our end, we can't put our full thought and effort into it when we're just kind of flying through all of those issues, and we can't give you good education for it. So even though maybe you've brought everything up, it's not a very good quality of care that you're getting. So the quality is so much better if we have time to think through it all and ask you the appropriate questions and teach you. And so, yeah, sometimes that means booking a double or coming back for another appointment.
And I love what you just said as well, about being mindful of, this is a double-edged sword, because being mindful of how you can also help your doctor make the most of their 15 minutes time. For a start, get your bum off the seat and run quick into the
don't walk slowly.
Yeah, exactly. No chitter chatter. But I'm imagining, like, I'm just so guilty of this, that I go, no, how are you? Oh, it's fine. Oh yeah, and Brian's just been doing it. And he says, I bet she's just thinking, shut up, I don't care, just tell me what's wrong with you. And it's really good advice. But at the same time, going back to what you just said at the beginning of the show, you want to get to know your patient.
Yes.
And you want to know, because I would imagine that sometimes it's the little, oh, I'm not too bad, Brian's been doing that. It's like, oh, there it is. That's what's wrong with her. Yeah, that's what I need to try. So it's a hard one, isn't it? Because
it's really hard. And the truth is, behind closed doors, there's an immense amount of trust between a patient and a doctor. And looking back, it's just astounding to me how patients feel comfortable to share with me their best days, their worst days, secrets that no one else knows, the journeys they've been through. Like, telling those stories and having that level of trust is such an honor, and it's one of my favorite parts of the job. So a degree of that is taken away when you only have, 15 minutes. And in some ways, I do feel like the visits are a little bit more just transactional. What do you need? What can I help provide for you? And less kind of building that relationship and trust. I think it does come in shorter bits over time. But yeah, that's been a big transition too, to be okay with that. And from what I hear, I have a sister who lives near London, and she said in the UK, it seems even more transactional.
Yeah.
Really, the GPs come in and say, okay, like, what do you need? What can we help you with? There's really not a lot of small talk and, getting to know you, type of situation. So maybe we're too far that way in the States. We have the luxury of time and can do that. And, we have to find the balance, and we're trying to do that here. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably been the biggest change.
I was going to say that. I wonder if in the States, because you're not, you're insured, so I want my money's worth, I'd be thinking, so, and I wonder if they do come in and think, well, while I'm here as well, we'll just talk about this other problem that I've got, because I'm paying for this anyway. So do you think that that's the case? And
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One big change I wanted to point out, because it's so different. We don't have well child checks here.
What's that?
They have those in the UK.
I think they have them for babies, but I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah. So in the States, your baby's born, you choose a pediatrician or a family doctor. We see those babies all the time. We see them 2 days after they get home, at 10 days, 1 month, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, all the way through. I mean, you get to a point where you're just seeing them yearly, but we're seeing those babes nonstop those first couple of years of life. And here they actually have the Plunkett nurses do most of that. Mm-hmm. So when the babies are young, it's a great program. The Plunkett nurses go to the homes, and do you remember your Plunkett nurses? Did you have one?
Both my kids were born in the UK, and now you say that. Yeah,
okay.
They were seen by the doctor, like you say. You used to go in. I can't remember, just like a checkup, didn't you? And they do this chart and measure their head.
Yes, that's it. Yes,
yeah.
And we go over the milestones and make sure. So yeah, here that's a huge change. We never see kids for kind of routine wellness. We only see kids when they're sick or when there's a problem. And the other huge change here is pediatricians don't exist in terms of you just choosing a pediatrician for your child to have care with. They're specialists here. So you're only going to a pediatrician if your child has a complex need like diabetes or a thyroid issue or something like that. So I think, yeah, that's important for people coming from the United States to know, because the United States, everyone has a pediatrician for their kid who they're seeing, all the time.
Yeah.
And then the adult version of that, insurances actually give one free visit. You're paying your insurance lots of money, but they'll give you this one free visit called your annual exam every year. And so you would go in and it was a chance to sit down with your doctor and go over just how your health is, things you could do to prevent illnesses in the future, screenings you may need. And that doesn't really exist here either. Sometimes patients come in and kind of say, hey, I want my yearly checkup, but not in the same way.
Right. Right. Do you think, what about preventative medicine? Is that bigger in the US than here? Does it even exist here?
I think definitely bigger in the US. And once again, I think it's just because the system can't allow it. We're doing the best we can for the most people we can. And that means we need to do what's most important in that moment. You know what I mean? And yeah, I wish there was more preventative care here. And there are pockets of it. I've seen, scattered wellness clinics you can go to. And like I said, you can just go into your GP and say, hey, let's talk about my wellness, but there's not necessarily a built-in, system for it. The screening here is really run on a national level. So like in the United States, it was up to me as a family doctor to order my patients colon cancer screening and mammograms, et cetera. Here, that's kind of all done through separate programs than us, which is great. I think that's a good thing. But because of that, yeah, there's not like this built-in visit for us to kind of talk about that and order that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is such an interesting conversation. So when you went home, I was just thinking then when you went home from work in the US, compared to coming home after a day's work in New Zealand, was there a feeling of like, oh, I've done the best I can? This is you in the US. I've done the absolute best I can. I spoke to that person at ages today. I really got to know him and I really got to get to the bottom of that. And you have that feeling of, oh yeah, go me, I've done great. Compared to, sorry about but compared to, do you come home in New Zealand and think, oh, I just wish I'd had that. What is it bothering you, or just tell me about that? What is the difference in your mind?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed that at all. Part of it is because the system here, GPs are so crucially needed for so many things. And it is so much harder for patients to get into specialists here, and the wait lists are so much longer. And the communication between hospital, GPs, specialists isn't always the most steadfast and tight. Things sometimes will fall through the cracks. So the GPs have a really important role here to really be the only one in a position to help, and really be able to step in and say, hey, you can't see the specialist, but let's talk about what we can do while we're waiting for you to get there. Or I can't tell you how many times I've found things just reading through, hospital discharge summaries or, things that needed to be followed up on, that I can say I made a huge difference in that patient if that wouldn't have come across my desk, and if I wouldn't have looked at that, this patient would be in a different situation. So you do feel your role here is still very important and needed. It's just a different type of role.
Would you say the healthcare, and I know one is free, and like you keep saying, it's just trying to help as many people as possible, and really trying to remember that and understand that, but is it substandard, the care in New Zealand compared to America, would you say? Is it or not? Is it,
That's a really, really good question. Yeah, we've talked about that. We've talked about that a lot. I think emergency care is excellent, is really good. You go to the ER, and if you're having an emergency, you're taken care of really well. The pathways into oncology when you're diagnosed with cancer are excellent. They get people in really quickly. Was that your experience?
It was very much so. Yep. Yep.
taken care of really well. The tricky bits are semi-urgent things, and the care is still great. It's just timing of the care. I'll give you an example. If you have a bad leg fracture and you need a surgery, if the hospital's booked, you might be waiting a couple of days in the hospital with your fracture until, there's a surgeon available to operate on you. When you get the operation, I think it's great, but it's that kind of lag time in between. Or, I'm used to another huge difference is in the US, I could literally order any test. I can't think of a test I couldn't order there. So if my patient needed something, I could order it and they would have it done shortly. Here, we can't order almost any imaging. We can order x-rays and ultrasounds. We can only order one type of CT scan and really nothing else, no other CTs, no MRIs. So it just takes longer to get the care you need. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And the way around it is if you have private insurance, that goes away. Then, we're able to access the private system and we can get you the scans you need sooner. But in the public system, the care is still good. There's just going to be a wait for it if it's not the most emergent.
Yeah. Thank you for answering that. And I just totally and utterly agree with you about the care. Like I say, with mum with cancer, once she was diagnosed, that was it. It was like she was treated with gold stars. The treatment was the best, I also agree with you about things slipping through the net, because there were a couple of times there that the hospital would get or the oncologist would get so frustrated and be like, well, why isn't this come through? Like, why wasn't this was missed or something, like, so yes. I also agree with that side as well. And what you've talked about the private healthcare, we have talked about that on this show as well. And a couple of people like commenting on YouTube saying, oh, it's just queue jumping for the rich. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? If you've got the money, then you're going to get seen quicker. So that's it. And
it is interesting. Access to GPs, at least where I am, significantly better than in the States, actually. So my practice in the States, just a routine follow-up. If I saw you today and said, hey, Liz, we need to check in on this, shortly, was probably 3 months. I was booked 3 months, maybe 4 out. If you were a new patient trying to schedule, a new patient visit or annual exam, it was a year out. You had to wait a year to be seen. At our clinic, you can almost always get in to see your GP in 1 to 2 weeks. Yeah. Maybe that's because we're doing 15-minute visits here. And in the States, we're doing much longer visits. But I've actually been really impressed with access to GPs. I know that's not the same everywhere in New Zealand, but that's actually been really good. I absolutely love that kids get free care. I can't tell you how much I love that. Both as a parent, we've utilized that here, and it just feels so good as a provider to see a sick kiddo and at the end of the visit say, you can check out, but there won't be any charge. Yeah. I love that. Yes. That's been really nice. I do love the ACC system. It's, a little bit clunky at times and has its issues, but for the most part, that's actually been really amazing for New Zealand in terms of keeping the litigation levels low, which has absolutely destroyed the United States. And just the culture of suing, and especially in medicine. And I think that's one reason why our costs are so high there, because we're always practicing defensive medicine, and that doesn't exist here. If there's in the States, if there was a 0.5% chance of this rare thing, we always looked for it. And here in New Zealand, it's the opposite. We say, there's a 99.5% chance that this isn't there, so we're not going to look for it. Does that make sense? Interesting. Yes, it does. Yeah. So that's a huge cost savings, for the country. So I think ACC is a good program to have. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, and even now, like, I have got so much respect for my GP. When we were kids, my mum wouldn't go mad if we didn't call them like Dr. Sue or Dr. Dr. Conlon, or you had to just say that. This is just like a really personal, indulgent question from me, but in the US, is there a difference between generations for a start? Like, do you get your older patients coming in and saying, oh, hello, Dr. Ali, and is there a difference between younger patients? Is there still that respect of like,
rightly so as well, that you respect this person that's going to be looking after you. Have you seen a difference in that, or is it still there in the younger
It's
generation?
really, really interesting because in the States, we're exclusively Dr. Ross.
Right.
Maybe one or two patients would call me Dr. Allie, like young patients, the kids, but to everyone, we're Dr. Ross. Here, everyone calls me by my first name. I would say 90% of my patients say, call me Allie or Allison. And so that's like taking some getting used to. And I don't think it's for lack of respect. I think that's just the culture. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think, how dare they just call you Allie? I mean, at least they're not calling you mate. I mean, that'll be the next thing, won't it?
Oh, that has happened. That has happened.
No, I mean, to be honest, my doctor is called Sue, and our kids went to, when Sonny and Tess went to school, our kids were at the same school, and I didn't know she was a doctor, and I just thought she was called Sue. So I came to know her as Sue. But now I've noticed that when I go into the reception and I say, oh, hi, I've got an appointment with Sue, and they say, yep, an appointment with Dr. Sue. Okay. And I think, oh no, so I have started saying Dr. Sue. But I think it's, I don't want them to lose that. Because, God, do you remember? It used to, well, you won't because you're too young, but you used to have to don't go in scruffy. Like, make sure you keep your pants if you're going to be
Look
going
nice.
And that was the way it was. And
it also makes me laugh how much more common swearing is here in front of your doctor, especially the youth.
Yes, I know. Now, is that a good thing or not? Because you want them to have that trust and feel like they're talking to a friend. Because on one side, if you felt like, you're the doctor and you're, sort of like that sort of thing, you'd hold back, wouldn't you? And you think, oh no, I won't tell them that. So it's good in one sense, but I'm old-fashioned. And I just want you still to be called Dr. Ross, and just bow at your feet when you walk.
Oh, you're too kind, too kind. Yeah, no, it's interesting because even though that was our label, that's what we were called, there was a huge movement right before we were leaving of people kind of losing trust in all authority in the United States, but definitely doctors. And there was a huge movement of people coming in and saying, I've Googled this, I know what you're going to tell me, and it's wrong type thing. And I haven't seen that here at all. So even though, we may be called by our first names, I still feel like, there's inherent trust there. I just look at it as a quirky cultural thing here.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, Ali, I could just talk to you for absolute hours, and I wish you were my doctor. I'd call you.
Oh, you're so kind.
No, in saying that, I love my doctor. I absolutely love her. She's amazing, and I will say that there is a technique, and I bet you have this, that you go in, and even though you have got 15 minutes, you feel heard. And that's a real skill for a doctor to
is
patients, isn't it? Just to
probably the most important skill.
Yes. Yeah. And just that lovely, just coming out of there and thinking, right, she listened. But in saying that, I loved also what you said about just remembering that when you go to see your doctor or your GP, you just go in with the main concern that you've got and try and, keep and by the way, I'm not feeling too good after I ate that, whatever. Just try and keep those things maybe just for the next visit, and just go in with your main concern, I think is what you were saying, wasn't it?
Yes. And I know, I've seen both sides of it. I've heard both sides of it from patients too. And I completely understand sometimes it's really hard to get to the GP in the first place. And sometimes even the one consult fee is a lot. So just go for the best balance you can, just say, hey, this is what's most important to me today that I really want addressed. Maybe if there's one or two, small things, but having that in the back of your mind, just knowing the quality of care you're going to get for, a giant long list in 15 minutes isn't what you would want.
No. Oh,
yeah.
Is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you're thinking, oh, she should have asked me about that before I let you go? Is there anything else that we can talk about?
Yeah. So the way I kind of look at it at the end of the day is, in the United States, we just kind of practice as if resources are unlimited. We literally order anything we want to, and we don't even take a second to think about the cost. And that's not necessarily the right way to practice. And they've actually done studies that they've taken patients and said, hey, if you knew how much that was going to cost before you agreed to do it, because of course you have trust in your doctor and you do what they say, would you have done it? And a huge percentage of them say, no, I probably wouldn't have. So it's just, important to keep in mind, just because we can, do X, Y, or Z, that doesn't always mean that we should, or that it's the right thing to do. So it's been hugely helpful to practice in a different, system where we only can do limited things and realize that still may be good enough. For most people, that still may be good enough.
Yeah.
And just knowing that if you go to the ER here for something urgent, it's covered. You're not going to walk out of there. We had a scare with my 6-year-old. She was 4 at the time, with like severe belly pain and fever and vomiting. And we thought for sure she had appendicitis. We were traveling, so took her to the ER. So we're not even in our network that our insurance covers. She ended up having strep throat. All they did were vitals and like a strep swab. I think the bill was $7,000.
Oh.
So it's just such a blessing. And sometimes patients here are shocked to hear that kids have to pay for care in the United States. But it's so nice here that even though the system may not be perfect, there are long waits, there are, difficulties getting in to see specialists. I can't order the things I want to order for you. Still, at the end of the day, how amazing is it that you get the care you need, and you're not having to pay anything for that extra.
Yeah. It is really amazing, isn't it? It really is. Oh, Ali, thank you so. Oh, Dr. Ross, thank you so much for me today. Oh no, I'm honestly, I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to you and your husband for coming over and just bringing your skills to New Zealand, and for being the person you are as well. You're so open, you're so adventurous, and you're so approachable. The biggest thing is I just feel like I know you already, like instantly, like just this instant bond.
Oh, thank you, Liz.
Yeah, you're lucky patients that have got you. And whatever you decide to do, I hope that you stay in New Zealand, even when these people come back and, you start looking for somewhere else. But I really hope that you choose to stay in New Zealand.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you.
We're thrilled to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your experiences being GPs in New Zealand.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay. All right, Ali, thank you so much.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Okay, bye. I really hope you enjoyed that show as much as I enjoyed recording it. If you're moving to New Zealand and you are interested in joining the Slack group, the private community group that we raved about and talked about on today's show, then you need to head over and get our free 5-day video guide. This is a video guide that sends you a video every day for 5 days, sharing some aspect of what life in New Zealand is like. It's absolutely free. And then when you get to the 5th day, you will be given the option of whether or not you want to join the private community, the one that we talked about. It's a fabulous, fabulous resource. I don't need to say anything more because you've already heard all about it. Go over, take the free 5-day video guide, get to day 5, and then you can decide whether or not you'd like to be a member and join our private community along with me and Brian and all those other fabulous people that are walking along the same path as you and making the move to New Zealand. So head on over to www.nzahead.com/free. Head on over to www.nzahead.com/free and get your free 5-day video guide. Get to day 5 and then you decide if you want to come and join us in our private membership group. I hope to see you on the other side.